I do remember lots of misinformation about Jews, but you can debunk them one by one with knowledge, facts, and the truth if you want to seek truth. And if you want to say that what I was indoctrinated with is wrong. If you have this courage, I believe you would change. Not many people have this courage. I'll be very honest and blunt again. One of the reasons that you have anti-Zionism, anti-Americanism, whatever you want to call it, anti-things from so many Muslims is because of the following. They were raised with the idea that we have the ultimate truth and no one else has it. The Jews cannot be right. And we were told that the Jews would not benefit humanity, would not benefit the world, would not benefit mankind. And then when you see a tiny country like Israel giving the world cherry tomatoes, USB, high tech, for them it's like there is something wrong. But I cannot be wrong. I have this ego of self-narcissism. I cannot be wrong. There's a conspiracy. So this is why I would stand against Israel. I would stand against the West. I would stand against America. I would stand against, because they are not willing to accept that there were so many things that they were indoctrinated with are wrong. And I'm telling you this because I was on the other side. I saw how it looked like. And thank you so much. I'm not going back. Europe must ask itself a serious question. Why are ambassadors of the Islamic regime of Iran still operating freely in European capitals? This is not diplomacy. The regime has attacked European military targets, including British facilities in Diego Garcia and Cyprus, and even targeted bases linked to France and Italy. Iran's intelligence services have also used criminal networks in Europe to hunt dissidents. Assassinations took place in The Hague and elsewhere. And remember the 2012 terror attack in Burgas, where Hezbollah-linked bomber murdered Israeli tourists and a local driver. Even Iranian diplomats themselves have been involved in terrorism. In 2018, Asadullah Assadi was convicted in Belgium for providing explosives for a planned attack in Paris. Meanwhile, the regime has killed tens of thousands of its own protesters. A government that murders its people and exports terror abroad has lost diplomatic legitimacy. So Europe should act. Why are ambassadors of the Islamic regime of Iran still operating freely in European capitals? Why? And to Iranian diplomats themselves, I say this: stand with your people, the people of Iran, not with the regime that oppresses them. In this war, there are two sides: the Islamic regime of Iran or humanity. Choose your side, because this regime represents everything opposed to human values: brutal oppression, persecution of women, terrorism, and nuclear blackmail. This is a struggle between freedom and tyranny, and there is no middle ground. Look at the Iranian people themselves. For years, they have marched in the streets demanding freedom. They have risked their lives to protest this regime. They have already chosen their side. The question now is, for the rest of the world, which side are you on? Many Western nations already understand the danger. Countries like Germany, France, and the United Kingdom have repeatedly warned Iran to halt its nuclear program, because a regime that oppresses its own people and threatens the whole world with nuclear weapons cannot be ignored. And this is not just about Israel. It's about the Middle East. It's about the future of the region. And it's about the future of humanity itself. The Iranian regime blatantly attacked the UAE during the ceasefire, the fragile ceasefire, on May 4th, 2026. This alone should tell you a lot about this regime. But I am here in Abu Dhabi, and millions in Dubai and other Emirates were not afraid nor intimidated, because we have great faith in the United Arab Emirates armed forces. Let me tell you why I and millions have faith in the armed forces. The UAE armed forces were never built for aggression. They were built for peace, unity, and protection. When the UAE was united in 1971, its military forces were still separate. But on May 6th, 1976, in Abu Mreikha, the founding fathers, Zayed bin Sultan Al Nahyan and Rashid bin Saeed Al Maktoum, made a historic decision. One army, one command, one flag. Today, 50 years later, the UAE armed forces stand as a shield against the forces of darkness, like the Mullah regime. From a country once importing weapons
the UAE became a country exporting peace. And here's something remarkable. While many countries integrated women into the military, decades later, the UAE opened the Khawla bint al-Azwar military school in 1971, becoming a pioneer in empowering women in military service. This is why the UAE armed forces are called Little Sparta, not because they seek war, but because they are disciplined, visionary, and trusted. The UAE invested in human capital, in national service, in unity and discipline. And the result? A nation where people feel safe, a nation confident in its leadership, and armed forces. The UAE armed forces are not forces of aggression. They are forces of peace. And forces of peace will never be blackmailed by terrorists, and we will never be intimidated by forces of darkness like the Iranian regime.
You know what the irony of this war is? The Iranian regime claims it's defending the Palestinians and the Shiites, but its missiles are killing them. In Abu Dhabi, one of Iran's missiles killed a Palestinian resident living there. May her memory be a blessing, Allah yarhamha. And in Bahrain, a drone launched by Iran killed Sara Dishti, a Bahraini citizen, a Shiite. May her memory be a blessing, Allah yarhamha. Think about that. A regime that claims to defend Palestinians kills a Palestinian. A regime that claims to defend Shiites kills a Shiite. This is the truth many people, especially in the West, refuse to see. The Islamic regime in Iran is not protecting the people of the region. It is terrorizing them. Its missiles do not distinguish between Israelis, Palestinians, Arabs or Persians, Sunni or Shiites. They bring death to everyone. This is why more and more people in the Middle East understand this reality. This regime is not the defender of the region. It is the enemy to everyone in that region. The Islamic regime of Iran must go. The regime in Iran recently fired 2 ballistic missiles toward Diego Garcia, a base located 4,000 kilometers away from Iranian soil. But just 3 weeks earlier, Iran's foreign minister publicly claimed,
"We are not developing, long-range missiles, and we have limited the range of our missiles below 2,000 kilometers intentionally."
Well, the truth is now on the record. 4,000 kilometers. At that range, Iran can already reach almost every capital in Europe. Paris, Berlin, Rome, and many others. So Europe must ask a very simple question. Why would Iran, the Islamic regime of Iran, develop missiles capable of reaching European capitals, if not to one day threaten them? And the story doesn't end there. Iran, the Islamic regime of Iran, is already working to extend that range even further, potentially reaching the United States, God forbid. A dictatorship, a tyranny holding strategic weapons like this is not just a threat to Israel. It is a threat to the entire free world. And history teaches us something very important. Denying a threat does not remove it. It only emboldens the regimes that carry it, like the Islamic regime in Iran. Sheikh Abdullah bin Zayed Al Nahyan, the foreign minister of the United Arab Emirates, wrote a powerful message on X. He said, "We will not be blackmailed by terrorists." That's a principle. Sheikh Abdullah bin Zayed is known around the world as a man of peace. He was one of the key architects of the Abraham Accords, a historic effort to bring Arabs and Israelis closer together. But peace doesn't mean weakness. When the UAE faces aggression, peace turns into resolve. Let me remind you, the UAE clearly stated before the war that it would not allow its bases to be used against the Islamic regime in Iran. And yet, on February 28th, Iran still launched attacks against the UAE, despite the fact that thousands of Iranians live peacefully in the UAE, working, building, raising families, our brothers and sisters who have always been respected and protected. Our problem, I will say this again and again and again, our problem is not with the Iranian people. Our problem is with the Iranian regime that bullies its neighbors. And the UAE will never allow terrorists or regimes to intimidate it. As Sheikh Abdullah said, we will never be blackmailed by terrorists. There is something that the world must understand about Iran. The Iranian people, the amazing Iranian people, are not the regime. Across the world, Iranians have marched in the streets, from Europe to America, raising their voices against the government that has ruled them for decades. They are not silent, they are not indifferent, they are furious. Many Iranians I personally met in the United States and in Europe told me the same story. They fled their country because they were afraid of the version of Islam imposed by the regime. They didn't leave Persia because they hated their homeland. They left because they wanted freedom. Remember, this regime consolidated its power in 1979. And since then, millions of Iranians have lived under repression, censorship, and fear. Yet despite all this, the Iranian people keep demanding dignity, liberty, and a normal life. They want the same things we all want: to prosper freely, to worship freely, to live without fear. So when we talk about Iran, let's not confuse, please, a great nation of people with a regime that rules them. Because if you listen carefully to the voices of Iranians around the world, you will hear the same message again and again. They are eager for freedom, and it's our responsibility, it's our duty to support them to have this kind of freedom and to make Iran, inshallah, great again. While the world focuses on Iran, let's not forget something very important. Hezbollah is still there in Lebanon. Hezbollah is not just a local militia. It's an Iranian proxy funded, armed, and directed by the Islamic regime in Tehran. And the model Hezbollah created in Lebanon is exactly the model Iran, or the Islamic regime of Iran, wants to replicate across the Middle East. A state within a state, armed militias stronger than the national army, and a country held hostage by ideology. Look at Lebanon today, a country once known for its beauty. It was called by us Middle Easterns the Switzerland of the Middle East. It was known for its culture, its entrepreneurship, a country where people celebrate life. The Lebanese people, like the Persian people, want dignity, prosperity, and freedom. But Hezbollah has dragged Lebanon into wars it never chose, crippling its economy, isolating it from the world, and threatening to steal the future of an entire nation. And this is the warning we must all understand. Iran's proxies are not accidents. They are a strategy of the Islamic regime. The Islamic regime has spent decades building militias across the region, from Lebanon to Iraq to Yemen, long before Operation Epic Fury. The war did not start on February 28th. It started years ago through these proxy networks. If we want stability in the Middle East, we must stand with the people of Lebanon and reject the model of chaos that Hezbollah represents. Because the future of the region belongs to nations that build, not militias that destroy.
Our problem is not with the people of Iran, the great people of Iran, historic people, gifted people. I always call them the descendants of Cyrus. Just imagine, please. Imagine sitting with your family or working or trying to sleep, and I was sleepless for so many nights. And then suddenly your phone lights up with a message that says, "Missile alert, take cover." And when that becomes your reality, something changed inside you. The regime in Iran has spent decades proving the fears of its neighbors right. They did prove the fears of their neighbors. Many in the Gulf tried caution, we tried patience, but again and again the answer from that regime has been the same. Intimidation and escalation and violence. It's like they're saying, I am the bully of the Middle East. And I want to say something tonight from the bottom of my heart. Every time I received one of those alerts on my phone, and every time I had to take cover, every time I felt the moment of fear and uncertainty, I told myself, yes, I feel anxious, I feel worried. I'm a human being. But if this painful moment leads one day, inshallah, bi'izrat Hashem, to the freedom of the great people of Iran, then so be it. Because let me be clear, our problem is not with the people of Iran, the great people of Iran, historic people, gifted people. I always call them the descendants of Cyrus, people of poetry, civilization, scholarship, beauty and dignity. Our problem is with the radical ideology that's ruling them, that has hijacked a great nation and turned it into a factory of fear for the region. And I say tonight from Las Vegas, with sincerity and respect, the Iranian people deserve better. They deserve a government that builds schools instead of militias like Hezbollah and the Houthis, hospitals instead of proxy armies, and hope instead of terror. They deserve better. And as I stand here, I want to salute, and I want you to join me in saluting the men and women who protect our skies and our land, the United Arab Emirates Armed Forces. Please salute with me the United Arab Emirates Armed Forces. Thank you. Thank you for your service, and thank you for your courage. Thank you for proving that the UAE is not merely a skyline, not merely luxury or glass towers and beautiful architecture. It's a real country, a resilient country, a country with roots, values, discipline, and resolve. And under the leadership of His Highness, Sheikh Mohammed bin Zayed, may God bless him, we feel that resolve. We feel that steadiness. We feel that the sense that the UAE is not fragile, not confused, and not abandoned